Hi fellers, welcome back to Triple F Ranch. The question that I get asked a lot is what type of line I use on my finesse rod. So that's going to be using a Ned rig, a drop shot, a weightless wacky rig, a drop shot wacky rig, things of the finesse type nature for bass fishing. And I use monofilament. Oh boy, not this again. Well man, I tell you what, I heard you were using monofilament for your finesse bass fishing. How did you end up with my sunglasses and my hat?
Well, that ain't what the pros use.
You're not even wearing them right, Jerry. I don't know, man. I'm just telling you what I think, and I think that you need to do what the pros do. Whatever. It's a never-ending battle with him. It's constant. So anyway, back to what I was saying. I use monofilament for finesse fishing. Number one, mono stretches. Number two, mono floats. And the stretching part, so if you're using, the light wire hooks, you're using drop shot hooks, a Ned rig hook, somewhere along those lines, it is a very, very thin hook. You don't need a lot of power to penetrate it into the bass's mouth. So you're jigging along, you get a bite. If you use fluorocarbon, yes, you've got the horsepower to lightly set the hook, plus you have the horsepower to fight that fish back to the boat. Now, in my opinion, the reason I use mono, number one, I'm a heavy hook setter anyway, so I kind of, I get that bite and I want to cross that fish's eyes. I have to set the hook a little bit harder, but here's the kicker to monofilament. When you set that hook, the line loads plus the rod loads. If you're using braid to a fluorocarbon or straight fluorocarbon or straight braid, the only thing that is loaded is the rod, and that is it. Nothing else. The line is not loaded, the hook is not loaded, the bait is not loaded. So when you use mono, the mono actually stretches. So when the mono stretches, you have that cushion between that fish and that rod tip. Let's say that fish comes out of the water. I don't know, he's really aggressive when he comes out of the water and he starts thrashing his head back and forth. That cushion is going to allow that line to spring back and forth. If you're using fluorocarbon, as soon as that rod becomes unloaded, everything becomes unloaded. Now the second part to that, to the line stretch, is the hooks are very thin, so it's got a small hole to come back out of. It can easily go in, but it can easily come back out. So with fluorocarbon, you lose that cushion. When you set that hook, you load that rod, you've got that fish pinned. If everything becomes unloaded, let me back up. Fluorocarbon unloads much faster than monofilament. Okay, so number two, I said that mono floats, which in fact it does. Braid and mono both float. When you are fishing a finesse style tactic for that day, that fish wants it slow. You're obviously finesse fishing for a reason. You're not out there burning crankbaits back. You're not, not stroking jigs back or ripping buzzbaits back to the boat. You're not doing that if you are finesse fishing. So the kicker to this part is you want that bait to move as slow and as methodical as possible. So if that bait's coming through the water, we'll just say you've got a weightless fluke on there. You're using just a nose hooked through a circle hook, drop shot hook, whatever you guys like to use. And when you pull on it, mono stays up. If you were using fluorocarbon, it slowly sinks. What's that going to do? It's going to bring the bait back down. If you are in a position to where you have to basically hit that fish in the face, and his strike zone is 6 inches in front of his face, once that fluorocarbon starts to sink, that bait starts slowly pulling away from him. If you're using mono, and you rip it, that mono suspends, and it also allows that bait to suspend. So personally, I use mono. I've used fluorocarbon. I've used straight fluorocarbon, 6-pound fluorocarbon, and I've lost a tremendous amount of fish using fluorocarbon because I had come up with the theory that, oh, it unloads faster than monofilament does. So I hope that helps you guys out. If you like this type of video, please give me a like, a comment, and please subscribe to my channel, and we will see you guys next time.